My husband was building our dream home, I was emptying nights with construction workers. What happened next shocks everyone. I was sleeping with Tyler before the drywall even went up. My husband Connor was out there every weekend in the July heat, pointing at blueprints spread across sawhorses, discussing load-bearing walls and hardwood finishes with the crew. He'd come home sunburned and exhausted, talking about our future and the kids' rooms like they were already real. Meanwhile, I was texting Tyler about which hotel had availability Thursday night. It started so stupidly. A joke. Tyler was the lead framer, maybe 32, with that construction worker body and the kind of smile that felt like a secret. He'd caught me staring one Saturday when I brought lunch out to the site. Connor was inside measuring something with two other guys, and Tyler leaned against his truck, peeling an orange. "Your husband's a lucky man," he said. I should have walked away. Instead, I said, "He works a lot." That's how it begins, right? One sentence. One crack in the armor you didn't even know you were wearing. By the time Connor and I celebrated our 7th anniversary that August, I'd already been to Tyler's apartment 4 times. I told Connor I was at book club. I told him my phone died. I told him traffic was bad. The worst part? Connor believed me. Every single time. Because why wouldn't he? We had 2 kids, a 6-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. We had a good life. He was building us a house with his own 2 hands, working double shifts as an electrician to pay for upgrades I said I wanted. Granite countertops. A soaking tub. A walk-in closet bigger than our current bedroom. And I was using that closet as an excuse to meet Tyler during lunch breaks. I don't know what I thought I was doing. Maybe I convinced myself it wasn't real because it was just physical. Tyler never asked about my life. We didn't talk about feelings or futures. It was just escape. From the monotony. From being mom and wife and never just me. My friends didn't help. Ashley kept saying I deserved to feel wanted. Madison sent me articles about women reclaiming their sexuality. They didn't know about Tyler specifically, but they knew I was restless, and they fed it. Social media made it worse. I'd scroll through Instagram seeing women my age on boats with men who weren't their husbands, everyone smiling like rules didn't apply anymore. I started thinking maybe I'd settled too young. Maybe Connor was safe but not exciting. Maybe I'd missed out. The house became a symbol of everything I resented. Connor's dream. His timeline. His vision of us growing old together in a place he designed. I started snapping at him over tile choices. I stopped going to the site. When he'd ask if I wanted to see the progress, I'd say I was tired or the kids needed me. The kids. God, the kids. My daughter Emma asked me once why I was always on my phone. I told her I was planning a surprise. My son Liam stopped asking me to play trucks because I kept saying later, baby, later. I was physically present but emotionally checked out, living for the next text from Tyler, the next Thursday, the next hit of something that made me feel alive instead of buried. I knew Tyler wasn't going to leave his girlfriend. I knew this had an expiration date. But I didn't care. I was high on the attention, on being seen as something other than someone's wife or someone's mom. Connor would talk about the deck he was building and all I could think about was Tyler's hands. September came. The house was almost done. Connor planned this big reveal, wanting to walk me through it at sunset, show me everything he'd poured into it. He'd taken the day off, arranged for his mom to watch the kids. He was so excited he could barely sit still at breakfast. I told him I had a headache. I told him I needed a few hours to rest first. I went to Tyler. We were at his apartment, and I'd silenced my phone. Connor had texted 3 times asking if I felt better, saying he'd pick up soup on the way home, saying he loved me. I saw the notifications on my watch while Tyler was kissing my neck. I swiped them away. Then someone knocked on Tyler's door. He froze. I froze. The knock came again, harder this time. Tyler pulled on his jeans and went to check the peephole. His face went white. "It's your husband," he whispered. I felt my entire body go cold. Time collapsed. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I grabbed my clothes off the floor, my hands shaking so badly I couldn't get my shirt on right. Tyler opened the door before I was even dressed. Connor stood there in his work boots, still covered in sawdust from the site. He looked at Tyler. Then he looked past him and saw me, half-dressed, holding my jeans. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just stared at me like I was a stranger. Like he was trying to compute how the woman he'd loved for 9 years could be standing in another man's apartment at 4 in the afternoon on the day he'd planned something special. "Connor," I started, but my voice broke. He held up one hand. "Don't." That's all he said. One word. Then he turned and walked away. I ran after him, barefoot, still pulling my shirt down. Connor, please, let me explain. He spun around so fast I almost ran into him. His face was completely calm. That's what scared me. No anger? Just nothing. I installed the security camera at the house last week, he said quietly. The one that faces the driveway. I saw you leave today. You weren't sick. So I checked your location. He held up his phone. The little dot over Tyler's apartment complex. I knew something was off. I just needed to see it. My stomach dropped into hell. How long? He asked. I couldn't speak. How long, Jenna? 3 months, I whispered. He nodded slowly, like he'd expected it. Like he'd been adding up all the late nights and dead phone batteries and book clubs that never had any book details. I'm taking the kids to my mom's, he said. When you get home, I want you out. I don't care where you go. You're not staying in a house I'm still paying for. Connor, please. I built that house for us. His voice finally cracked. I worked 70-hour weeks so you could have everything you said you wanted. I did it all for you, Jenna. For us. And you've been here. He looked at Tyler, who'd come to the doorway but had the sense to stay silent. You two enjoy each other, Connor said. Then he looked at me one last time. The kids are going to ask where you are. I'll figure out what to tell them. But it won't be a lie. He left. I heard his truck start. I stood on the sidewalk in bare feet, watching him drive away, and I realized I'd just lost everything that mattered. Tyler didn't even invite me back inside. Tyler stopped answering my texts by that weekend. Turns out his girlfriend found out. She blew up his phone, showed up at the site, made a scene. He got pulled off Connor's project immediately. Last I heard, he transferred to a different company 2 towns over. He never said goodbye. He never apologized. He just vanished, and I was left holding the atomic bomb I'd detonated on my own life. Connor filed for divorce within a week. His lawyer was brutal. My affair wasn't just infidelity in our state, it was grounds for an at-fault divorce, which meant he had leverage I didn't. I got a lawyer who told me point blank I'd be lucky to get shared custody. You had an affair with a man working on the family home while your husband was providing for you and your children, she said flatly. A judge isn't going to look kindly on that. She was right. Connor got primary custody. I got every other weekend and 1 weeknight dinner. My daughter Emma cried the first time I dropped her off at Daddy's new apartment because she didn't understand why Mommy wasn't coming in. My son Liam stopped hugging me the way he used to. He'd go stiff in my arms, like he was doing it out of obligation. Connor's mom wouldn't look at me at the custody exchange. She'd loved me for 9 years, baked cookies with the kids at my house, called me her daughter. Now she took the kids from my car without a word, her face set in stone. My friends evaporated. Ashley, the one who'd said I deserved to feel wanted? She blocked me after Connor's sister posted the truth on Facebook. Apparently supporting me in theory was fine, but being associated with me in reality was social suicide. Madison sent one text, I didn't think you'd actually do something like this. Then nothing. The mom group chat I'd been in for 3 years went silent whenever I posted. Finally, someone removed me. No explanation. Just gone. I had to quit my part-time job at the pediatric clinic because one of the doctors was friends with Connor's cousin. She didn't fire me outright, but the looks I got from the other staff made it clear I wasn't welcome. I heard the whispers in the break room. Can you imagine? While he was building their house? Those poor kids. I started having panic attacks in my car. I'd sit in parking lots sobbing so hard I'd choke. I lost 12 pounds in a month because I couldn't eat. My parents let me move into their basement, and my dad barely spoke to me. My mom tried to be supportive, but even she said, I just don't understand how you could do this, Jenna. He was such a good man. Was. Past tense. Like Connor had died. In a way, he had. The Connor who loved me, who called me every lunch break, who built me a house with his own hands, that man was gone. The one who existed now looked through me like I was glass. At custody handoffs, he'd nod once and take the kids. If I tried to talk about logistics, he'd say, text my lawyer. I tried to apologize. I sent him a 10-page letter explaining everything, how I'd been lost and stupid and broken and sorry, so sorry I couldn't breathe. He never responded. I found out later he'd burned it without reading it. The house was finished in November. Connor moved in with the kids. I drove by once, late at night, and saw the lights on in the kitchen. Through the window I could see Emma at the table doing homework. Connor's mom was cooking something on the stove. It looked warm. It looked like home. I wasn't part of it anymore. Connor started dating someone in December. I found out because Liam mentioned Miss Olivia came over to make pancakes. My stomach turned inside out. I Facebook stalked her. She was a teacher at Emma's school. Blonde, pretty, the kind of smile that looked genuine. In one photo, she was holding Liam on her hip, and he was laughing. My son. Laughing with her. I called Connor that night, breaking the no-contact rule, and begged him to slow down. It's too fast, I said. The kids need stability. He laughed. Actually laughed. It was the cruelest sound I'd ever heard. You're worried about their stability? He said. You destroyed their stability, Jenna. You're the reason they ask why mommy doesn't live with us anymore. You're the reason Emma cries at night. So no, I'm not taking advice from you about what they need. He hung up. I threw my phone across the room and screamed into a pillow until my throat was raw. I tried therapy. The therapist was kind but honest. You made a choice that had consequences, she said gently. Now you have to live with them. The question is whether you'll let this define you or whether you'll rebuild. But how do you rebuild when the foundation is gone? When your kids look at you differently. When your ex-husband won't speak to you and the man you threw everything away for doesn't even remember your last name. I got a job at a grocery store. Night shifts, stocking shelves, because I couldn't stand being around people during the day. I'd see women with their families, kids in carts, husbands carrying bags, and I'd have to go to the back room and cry. On the weekends I had the kids. I tried so hard to be fun mom. I took them to trampoline parks and bought them toys and made elaborate dinners. But Emma would ask, why can't Daddy come? And Liam would say, Miss Olivia makes better spaghetti. I'd smile and say it was fine, we were fine, Mommy loved them so much. Then I'd cry in the bathroom after they fell asleep. Connor got engaged to Olivia in March. 6 months after our divorce was finalized. Emma told me, excited, holding up a photo on Connor's phone of Olivia's ring. Daddy says she's going to be our bonus mom. I nodded and said that was great, honey, I'm so happy for you. Then I went home and didn't get out of bed for 2 days. My parents staged an intervention. My mom sat on the edge of my bed and said, Jenna, you have to stop. You made a mistake. A horrible, devastating mistake. But you're still their mother. You have to fight for that. But I didn't know how to fight when I'd already lost. I see Connor sometimes around town. He doesn't avoid me, but he doesn't acknowledge me either. I'm just background noise. Once, I saw him and Olivia at the park with the kids. Liam was on Connor's shoulders, and Emma was holding Olivia's hand, and they all looked so happy. I sat in my car and watched them until they left. Nobody noticed me. The house Connor built is beautiful. I know because Emma posts pictures sometimes on the iPad. Her room has the window seat I'd wanted. The kitchen has the subway tile backsplash I'd picked out. It's everything I said I wanted. I just thought I'd be there to see it. Tyler sent me a text last month, the first in almost a year. Hey, sorry how things went down. Hope you're good. I blocked him. There was nothing left to say. People warned me about karma, about how cheating destroys lives, about how the grass isn't greener. I didn't listen. I thought I was special. I thought I could get away with it. I thought Connor would forgive me, or that I'd be happier, or that something would make it worth it. Nothing did. I gave up a man who loved me, who built me a house with his own hands, who would have done anything for me. I gave up my kids' stable home. I gave up my friends, my reputation, my life. For what? 3 months of selfish attention from a guy who didn't even have the decency to say goodbye. If you're reading this and you're thinking about cheating, or you're in the middle of an affair and telling yourself it's harmless, or you think you deserve more than what you have, stop. Just stop. Because the person you're destroying isn't just your partner. It's you. And you don't get to come back from it.